Hello, patrons and friends, and welcome to another episode of the Making It series here on the Ragonia Patreon. This voice is Ragon. Hi. Coming at you with today's episode that you guys voted for on how I draw in Procreate. And in addition to the little article, I thought it would be fun to make a video of an example of a project that I work with, that I work on pretty frequently, like a very standard drawing. Let's go into Procreate. I'm going to be working on these autumn stickers. Yeah, if you remember, I did a set of veggie and fruit stickers earlier, and I think that's a very good example of how I draw most things in Procreate. So instead of doing a standard process video, I thought I'd do an actual little walkthrough. And I hope you like it. Hopefully it's not too long. But before that, I wanted to give you a little glimpse of how my Procreate is semi-organized. Some of it's organized, some of it's not, just so you can have a little peek inside how I store things. You see some things are not organized, some are stacked up. I have some client projects here, a couple like ongoing things or things that need sorting. I have some different types of projects, and while I'm in here, I wanted to show you guys a little trick that, if you didn't know, I think is pretty useful, especially when you're working on bigger projects. When you're in the kind of folder zone, if you want to preview one of your files, take two fingers and pinch out to pull it up, and then you can swipe through your different projects and then tap and press X to go back, or you can double tap to go into that file. Just a little tip that I've learned while working on my book project, so if you didn't know that one, then enjoy. Okay, let's get started on this drawing. I already have the sketch done for this one, so you guys, unfortunately, we're gonna have to skip that, but you'll see my final process. So you can see I've merged all of the sketch layers into one layer that's all the same, and I've labeled it sketch to keep it organized. And to start, I always tap on the sketch layer and then lower the opacity way down. Like so. This is always the first thing I do when I'm ready for the final art after I've done my sketch. And then I add another layer on top of that. And now we're ready to draw. So I'm going to go into the color section, and you can see down here at the bottom I have a one of my color palettes, the Pantone color palettes, which is it's kind of a randomly organized, but this Ragonia one is the color palette that I used for the longest time, but this Pantone one, it's a little brighter, has been the one that I've been using lately as I work with companies that need Pantone colors, so these are a little closer to that, a little bit. Also, I just want to tell you before I get started with drawing, sorry, go over to Canvas information. You can see, well, I guess you can't see, but it's printed, as far as size, I'm doing it at 4 inches by 6 inches, which is I believe is the size it's supposed to be. Just to be sure, I'm going to duplicate one of these that I know is the right size, which are the veggie and fruit stickers. So I just selected it and duplicated it, and I'm going to come in here and grab the sketch layer. I'm going to tap and copy it, and then you can copy and paste within Procreate. So, wow, how messy is this file? I'm gonna delete everything after I come over to actions and then paste to make sure it's the same size. Just gonna drag. So now using that other, the previous drawing as an example, so I know it's formatted correctly. There, now I know my sketch is the correct size, and I can delete everything that's left over from that other file and start from here. So now I'm positive this is the right dimension. That's a good thing to note. Good thing I checked. I think it was maybe, I'm not sure why it was 4 inches by 6 inches before, but I'm just gonna go with what I'm positive is correct here. So now we're ready to rumble. I'm gonna rename this sketch again and turn down the opacity. So now we're gonna be drawing underneath this layer, using it as a guide. Rename this to, I don't know, I'll just say drawing for now. Can rename it later. And we're gonna come back into color, and let's start with yellow, because there's a lot of yellow in this piece. So yeah, now we just start filling in. My brushes that I like to use, so when I'm erasing big areas, or when I'm trying to draw a really hard line, I come into airbrushing, and then down at the bottom I like to use the hard airbrush because it gets as close as you can to like a mono line or a really even line, and when you make it large, the brush gets fairly large, so it can be fast for filling things in. Some of my other favorite brushes, the Nico roll here under painting. I really like to use this for lettering because I love this square edge and I like the little bit of texture that it has. That's under painting. I also sometimes use under calligraphy the script pen because it's can be a little funky and really reacts to pen pressure. So that one can be kind of fun. But my favorite ones by far are under the drawing tab. I really love the Evolve pen. You've probably seen this chunky bad boy. Love this chunky texture, and especially at its larger sizes it can get pretty random with how it comes out. I really like to sketch with that one, and just, all in all, that's one of my favorites. Another of my favorites has been this Freycinet brush up here, also in drawing, because it's just a soft textured boy. If you do big, you can see more of the texture that comes out at the edge. So I really like to take the Freycinet brush and draw like a large shape, and then erase also with the Freycinet brush. Oops. Erase with the Freycinet brush to get a nice texture. Here, I'll show an example. So I'd erase all around there. Turn this off, and then you can see within that shape there's some nice texture because we used that big brush. And then I also like that it leaves some little textury pieces on the outside too. To that effect, while I'm here, I might as well show you my kind of screen printing technique that I've been using with this same brush. So I make a larger shape than what I want in the end, and then I use the same Freycinet brush to carve out the space that I don't need, and I like to leave these little edges, kind of like a block print, you know, however I think looks nice, however many or as few. So see, I would carve it out here, and then I might erase this, and see it leaves these little fun textures. I really like these little edges, especially. It just reinforces some movement, makes it a little grungy looking. And then I can come in with a bigger eraser to clean up the parts that I don't like. Yeah. Or that I don't want as grungy. for example, can come in with the airbrushing hard airbrush to then more cleanly erase if I want to on the outside, like so. And then I'll turn off the sketch so you can see a little bit of that effect. So this is my kind of screen printing technique that I've been using lately. I really like how that starts to look. Yeah, so that's one drawing technique, but I'm going to erase all of this. You can either swipe left and then choose that delete button, but I'll just show you another way that I erase things. You can come up here to this far right button, the select, I don't know what the move tool, don't know what this is called, this little pointer at the top left, and then just grab it and drag it off the screen. And then our screen is empty. Okay, so now before I draw this, I'm just gonna go in and double check the technique that I used for this last one. Honestly, I can't remember what brush I used here. Take a look at how messy these layers are before I knew someone would look. Alright, let's see. What kind of brush did I use here? It may have been the Freycinet brush. No, it looks like it was something else. Maybe the marker brush? Honestly, I don't know if I remember. The dry ink brush I was using a little bit? Yeah, I think it was the dry ink brush. Oh, interesting. That looks the most similar, I'd say. Wow, yes, okay, so great. To keep it consistent, I'll use that same brush here. So that's under the inking category in the dry ink section. So now we can start coming in and filling in the shapes. Let me just look at this again. When did I draw these stickers? That must have been a while ago. In the spring, maybe? Yeah, I haven't used this brush in a while. I kind of go through favorites of brushes, and I haven't used this kind of fuzzy brush in a long time. But that's okay, we'll keep it consistent here. So I'm just using that pin that I talked about, the dry ink print pin, to fill in these big spaces for this drawing. Going color by color. And I'm going to try to keep everything in the same, I just like to keep everything in the same size roughly. And I think what I used to do is draw along the edges like this, and then take, oops, just like that, take and drag, press this little circle in the corner and drag the color and drop it in there. And you can see, because the brush I used was a little textured, there's a little bit of extra, there's a difference between the solid color in the center here and the more textured out here. It's less noticeable here, but I'm going to just take the brush and kind of scribble in here to erase any noticeable line that might have formed from that. And then I think that's great. One more thing I'm going to check, make sure I'm using the same color palette. I think I'm not. Yeah, so it looks like I just came over into this old file to check my colors. It looks like the colors I've been using lately is a different color palette. Oh, definitely, I was using my older color palette. So see, I checked the red against this one, and yeah, this is my older color palette. That's great. So we'll get to pull that up too. Come back into this file, go to my palettes, and then I'm going to set Ragonia as the default, because that's the colors I have used from the beginning. And so I'm going to grab this yellow and drop that in there, and now we should have a matching yellow. Gonna go back in here and just check with that color. Yep, it's the same as I suspected. I don't think I have anything with this purple, but I'm just gonna grab it and pull it into the other file just in case there is something that's purple. I don't think there is. There's not, but I might as well drop it into this color palette so it's consistent. So see these blank spots down in the bottom right in the colors? I'm just gonna press one of them and it'll drop the current color I'm holding in there. Okay, now we checked that, I can get back to work with making sure I'm using this new yellow color. And I'm going to be drawing the things that are majority yellow, so that includes this leaf. Just draw a little outline. And this butternut squash. And then I'm going to drag and drop it in there. If you want to keep yours, make yours a little more, even more textural, you can do what I did, which is the carving tool, or you can make a shape and kind of color it in like this. But I tend to like, I feel like this is hard on my wrist, so I like to avoid that when possible. That back and forth, so I like to maybe use a bigger brush and then carve to the size that I need. And then I would erase that. So yeah, this is just how I'm doing it here. And remember, I'm going to take the brush and come in and make sure there's no line between where I filled that color in. And great, looks like we have all of the yellow ones. Okay, so let's move on to red. Why not? We'll snag the red. And actually, now that I'm working on this, I think since this was just the sketch, I'm gonna go in and try to find my... No, I won't do that. Sorry about that. I'll leave it like this. I was gonna try to find the Inktober that I did based on this, but I don't want to take too much time. So I'm just gonna show how I would do if this was just my sketch. Okay, so I put this mark down and I realized my brush is a little bigger than what I was using before, which would mean this edge texture would come out differently. So I made it a little bit smaller to try to make sure it matched. Just kind of nicely outline here. And outline here. There we go. Great. And now I'll click and drag, and you see a little bit of this white line here, so I'm gonna just do a little evening out. Probably no one except me can tell the difference, but that's how it always is. Okay, and I noticed that I missed a little bit of, I missed this little guy, so we'll just go back in and do that. So some of the features on the brushes, if you draw at an angle, that includes this dry ink brush. If you draw at an angle, it is more diffuse looking like that. So I want to make sure I'm drawing head on so I don't have a difference in texture, but this is a brush that often in the past I've used as shading for my portraits. So I'll make it kind of like that and do a little bit of shading on cheeks and chin and things. Some people were asking about my shading, yeah, so we'll just make that brush a little smaller again and come in like yay, and I'll just color that in there. Great, now we have this little mushroom, super cute. Okay, so back to red. Let's get this apple. 2, 3. And click and drag to fill and clean up the edge of the fill line. Nice, nice, nice. Let me go check something again, double check. See if there's any texture in the middle here. Looks like I did. Doesn't look like there's a lot of white texture, so I think I did it the same way whenever I made these other ones. Click and drag. And let's see. We can make this down here also red, and I'll show you why. So I'll draw the leaves here. I hope I can make this as cute as I made the Inktober piece. Oh, I think I can pull it out. Oh yes, I have it here in person. Don't have the photograph of it, but just pull that out. Alright. So just a reminder, to undo, I'm tapping 2 fingers, and then to redo, tap three fingers. And you can tell I do that a lot. Cute. And then I'm just gonna make sure this is the right width. That looks a little thin for me, so I'm gonna up the brush size, and then I'm just going to draw this line. Oop, but first, I'll come back to that. Let's move on to do some more big shapes. So we'll grab the green here in my color palette that I made 2 years ago, and I use for pretty much everything, or I used to. Now I'm changing it up a little bit. I like to have some consistency in my color palette. That's why I use a lot of the same, just some adjustment. So turning that off and cleaning up the edges. Great, great, great. Next, we'll draw this little guy, little acorn squash. And you see I am skipping some colors. I'm just drawing over. I'll show you next what we do about those other colors, what I do. And drop, fill it in, clean up the edges. Wonderful. And last, orange for the pumpkin. Undo, that was a little big on the bottom. Okay, I want this center one to be the lowest, and then to step out from there. There we go, that's much better. Okay, drop and fill. See the difference when you color it in? Not bad, just different. Okay, just roughly like that. Very cute, except I'm gonna adjust the shape a little bit. So here's a good example. This eraser is the airbrush tool. You can see it has a big difference in edge texture from the dry ink brush that I use. So I'm gonna go into my eraser tool and choose the inking dry ink, the same brush that I'm using so the edges are the same. Make it around the same size. And there we go. Wonderful. Very cute. Okay, so turn the sketch back on. Now I'm going to show you, oh, one more thing. I'm going to make a new layer for this acorn's hat, just in case I need to move it around a lot at all. So I pressed this little plus button, made a new layer. I'm not going to name it yet because I'll probably merge soon. And we're going to just draw the little hat. And fill in or color it in. And great, so now I'll come back to this. Okay, so now to do these extra little colors, you can see, turn up the opacity on sketch, the little yellow and the orange parts, so I'll show you how I do that. So you can see, I'll just merge these two together. I don't think it looks fine. So here in the drawing tab, now you see I'm turning off the background color. It is its own layer floating basically on top of a background. If I wanted, I could move it around, right? Yes, that's how layers work. So I'm going to take 2 fingers and swipe the drawing layer to the right to turn off its transparency effects. I can't remember exactly what it's called. But basically to make it so that I can only draw on the objects that are on this layer, and anything outside of it won't affect it. That way I can draw these different colors. Starting with this leaf up here. I'm gonna grab a yellow color and see, because we turned on those transparency effects, anything I draw on here only draws on there. Super cool. All right. So I'm going to start to draw these little colors. Very cute. Cute. Also draw this. Ta-da! See? Wow! And then we'll do the same down here. Wonderful. And then you can draw fun little patterns on things. You know, if you're drawing a shirt, you can do little polka dots. If you're drawing fruit, you can draw little yellow splotches. It's just a great tool, because the alternative is drawing on another layer and then erasing. It's just, you know, automatically only draws on the objects that you have. Turn this layer on. And we'll go into orange. I'll draw down here next. You can turn this way down if you turn the sketch layer way down if you really want to know what's going on underneath. And so here's a cool effect. You could do a kind of shade if you, I'm tilting my brush to the side and then tilting it further the closer I get to the end for a kind of gradient. Tilting it to the side so it's nice and washed. I'm not going to do that, I just wanted to show you. Another way to do a gradient is to take a brush like this and make it take a brush like the spray paint tool or something like that, and make it pretty big, and tap. Just look at this. See the gradient? If I wanted to do that on just this, just pressing, I could take my lasso tool and circle the thing that I want to draw on, and then it only draws on what you just lassoed. So that's another gradient technique. And then press this to exit out. See, that could be a fun gradient, just as an example. Let's get back to where we were. There we go. Okay, but I'm not doing that. Coming back to ink, dry ink, turn the size down, because I just want some color. Great, then we'll come into yellow. I want to make this whole leaf yellow. And finally green at the tip here. Make this brush a little smaller so it's a little cleaner edged. There we go. Very cute. Very nice, very nice. Okay, we'll grab this orange next and come on up here. You can see on the sketch. And we'll add that little orange effect. And same down here. Oops, I don't want that super soft edge, so I'm going to make sure my brush is the right size, and if I accidentally angle it like this, I'm going to undo it. While I'm here, might as well, yeah, I'll come back to those. Might as well not. Looks like we also have orange on this. So I like to do the edge first, and then you can do a bigger brush to fill it in more quickly. Save your wrist. And let's see, finally orange up here. And I can always come back to this and adjust after I do line work, which is what I'm gonna do next. Oh, except one more thing. Looking cute so far. I am going to, with 2 fingers, swipe right on this drawing layer to turn off the transparency effect, so now I can draw on everything again. Because I want to add a little leaf to this. I don't have it in the sketch, but a leaf would be cute here on this apple. Turn this down, see it's a little too fuzzy. And then make sure the shape is nice. Go, there we go, a little leaf. Adorable. Actually, I'm gonna undo that and now add another layer, because we're gonna add some things on top. So I'm going to draw my leaf again, and now that it's on another layer, I can adjust it a little bit more, for example, without having to erase things. Oh. There. Now that I'm drawing that, so see, this is all on its own layer. Now I can pull this down a little bit like that. Nice. Now that I'm seeing this, I'm remembering that I didn't space it correctly necessarily, because I was drawing for a Posca drawing, not stickers at the time, but it's okay. I can move things around at the end. Shouldn't be too much of a problem as long as I don't rotate them. So I'm gonna draw a little stem here for this guy. And it doesn't really matter what happens here at the bottom of the stem because I can just come in and erase. Reference, make sure it's even with the bottom. Draw up here. Very cute. And that looks great. Now we're going to use this same layer to start doing some line work. This is close to this is the finalish step for me. Usually I kind of build up from the bottom and then kind of go back and forth. So just making sure I have the right size. To double check for style consistency, I'm going to come into one of these original and make a line, and yeah, it looks like these two line works are pretty similar. Great. So just double check, and then when you go into another project it holds on to the same details. So now, easy peasy, I'm just, why not, gonna make another layer. Start laying in the line work. And when I do my line work, I have a glove that I bought online. That's just like a drawing glove, but you could really use whatever glove you want, that I rest my hand against the iPad and then drag my whole arm it's unfortunate you can't see it, but I kind of drag my whole arm along to get these relatively even lines, whereas if I was drawing, so basically I use my wrist as an anchor, my edge of my hand as an anchor to hold it steady. There we go, cutie, cutie, cutie. So now I think I want to pull this a little further into the center, so because it's on a separate layer, it doesn't mess it up, and that's great. There, now I can just add that and there's a little more overlap. Wonderful. And then I like to keep my line work relatively consistent, so I'm going to keep it the same size, not going to make it bigger or smaller as I fill in these lines. That looks nice. Let's just do 2 here. I'm also eyeballing it, trying to keep a relatively standard separation between these. Very cute. I think that looks great. Little chanterelle mushroom. Wonderful. All right, let's do this. Leaf, maple leaf. This is turned down enough. I might go in and change this. I don't like this little red poking out, but when I'm done I'll take a look at it. Can always change that later. Want that nice and centered. Super cute. Alright, then we'll come down here for the butternut squash. Again, just leaning my edge of my hand and dragging, trying to maintain even pressure. If I wanted, I could, you know, get a little varied, but for this style, I was just going for pretty even. There we go. Cute, cute, cute. Press and drag, and then we'll draw this little top. Noink. Now if I wanted, I could take an eraser brush and sharpen this up. In fact, I think I'm going to, because that's very cute. Did a little rotate of my wrist to keep it limber, comfy. Oops, looks like the brush skipped a little bit. Sometimes the brush isn't connecting as well, and sometimes that means it came untwisted, so you just twist the tip of your brush to make sure it's all the way in there. It also may be that the screen, your iPad screen, is a little dirty, so you can just wipe it off a little bit if it starts to like sputter. It's annoying. Okay, I'm looking to see if there's any other orange line work. Not that it matters. We're gonna pop into blue here and outline this bad boy, keeping the brush the same size, not adjusting, so it's all nice and even. Erase a little bit of this and pull this over here. There we go. Don't like that this isn't an equal size. So I'm just going to draw. This one's coming in a little awkward. Let's try this. I feel like this one is too skinny and this one is too wide. Let's see. That looks better. Very cute. And then we'll do these two little back ones. And looks like I forgot the little red stem on this one, so I'm going to come into this layer underneath layer 3, underneath layer 4. So I'm going to be drawing underneath the line work layer to just add a little stem. And it's okay that it's overlapping. I'll clean it up afterwards. So just doing a little straightening up. Very cute. So now we pop back into that upper layer and then we can erase this out. And no one was the wiser. So let's turn this off, turn the sketch layer off, see how everything's looking. I think it's looking very cute. While I'm looking at this acorn squash, I'm gonna come in a little bit so that we can make sure we see this orange in the far right side. And while we're at it, pop on a little bit of these details. And there we go. Very cute. The green is looking a little bright, but let's keep going. Make sure it all looks okay. Come back into this line work layer. If you want, you can name it. I usually don't name until things are getting confusing or almost done drawing this little guy. Little pumpkin lines. I think I want this little line work bit to sit a little higher, so I'm choosing the lasso tool. I'm going to circle it and then press the move tool and just pull it up slightly. I'm going to come in and erase a little bit of the stem on that lower layer. Make sure you can't see it. And I'm also going to make sure I'm in the line work layer. Actually, going to pull these up just a little bit too. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Last little line. And while we're in here, just add a little bit of texture. I could put this on another layer, but I think I like where it's going. Then we'll come in and do a stem on this leaf. I'm going to make sure it follows this center line nicely, and I'm going to kind of flare it out at the bottom, fill it in, and then pull one of these, erase it out to get it nice and square at the bottom here. And I think I want to pull this a little higher up. Let's turn this off and take a look. Maybe we'll come back to this. The shape looks a little awkward to me, but maybe when I add these it won't. So in this case, I could have done the same layer transparency that I did before, but instead I'm just going to leave it and erase. This is the slower way of doing it. I'm less precise. But that's okay. Precision isn't always right. Let's see, how does this look? This one looks a little off, so let's just try a little change of angle. Yeah, that looks different. Maybe it looks exactly the same, but it looks different to me. There we go. So now that I drew those other lines, this is looking pretty cute to me. I think I'm happy with this, but right after I draw a little, I'm also going to press and hold to grab this color instead of always having to go into this. You can take one finger, press and hold to snag a color. Draw, draw, and do another drop, little drop. Very cute. What else do we have? We've got this leaf. You know what? I think I want this to be an even thickness all the way down to the end, not flaring out. Yes, I like that a lot more. But I'm gonna flatten off this one like the other. Great, great, great. And then we will go like yay. I want to make sure the ends of these come all the way into the center, because otherwise you can see the little scoop. So just make sure it pulls all the way in. There we go. There we go. And there we go. I don't like those last two. And these. Cute. Still have the sketch layer, but you're starting not to be able to see it, huh? So now we draw the stem and a cute little this. I'm gonna try to do one of these there and then pull this out here. Very nice. And now draw some little details. Boop, boop. Lovely. Okay, next little X's here. One line each, and I rotate my wrist each time to make sure I can draw a straight line nicely. Very cute. Let's add a little boop. Too long. Boop. Flatten it off. Boop. I think I want it rounded, actually. The flattened creeps me out. And so for this little stem, I want it to be underneath the orange, so I don't have to erase it. So I'm just gonna add a new layer real quick, and that way it draws underneath, and I don't have to erase. Make sure it's in the center. Oops. Okay, center and too thick. Center. Not curved enough. And perfect. I think so. Now I'm just going to merge this with the drawing layer, because it doesn't need its own layer. Okay, now this stem for this guy. Flatten it off. Cute! And looks like we're almost done. Let's turn the sketch layer off, see how we like it. I think it's super cute. I love it. So I'm gonna merge these two layers because I'm pretty sure they're all working great. I'm gonna add a new layer to draw some highlights in two places, because white, I feel like, can be a very strong highlight, so I like to be kind of limited with it, because it can, I don't know, get out of hand. Draw some little seeds here. Not sure what to do with these seeds. I think I'll do them in little groups of 3 like that. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, any other little highlights? Looks like no. So I'm gonna go ahead and merge those together. It's looking very cute. I just want to add a little bit of interest here. Nice. Just be aware when you do this, sometimes you're getting one of these pixels that's like an off color. So make sure you're getting it in the true color. And, oh, I missed, I'm gonna add a new layer underneath everything to draw some little pumpkin tendrils. Just gonna go over it again to make sure it's nice and crisp. That's very cute. And then we're gonna also come and do it down here. I want it to look nice and curly. There we go. Super cute. That's very nice. Very stands out very well. Almost 5. That was my almost 5 alarm. And let's see, possibly the last thing. Just gonna make a new layer for this in case I need to adjust it on its own. And draw a little pumpkin topper. And then I want it to look like it was underneath this, so this is like a harder version. Turn down the transparency and erase. So there, now it all blends in nicely, and that looks great, except I want to pull it down to this side actually. Do the same thing over here. Now I love that. Wonderful. So I'm going to merge that with the line work layer. And I think this little guy is done, except for making sure everything has plenty of room. I am going to keep some elements of this sketch, so I'll just show you how I do this. I'm going to turn this up, and I'm going to use the lasso tool to circle all this, and then copy and paste. So now I've got just that veggie sticker here, and I also want this text down at the bottom, and I'm going to say copy and paste. So now I have that. It's a little thing down here, so that these will match with the other ones. And I'm gonna merge them together because that's fine. I want this to say fall stickers, so I'm gonna draw some new text on top of here. So I'm gonna turn down this layer, make sure my brush is the same size, and if I wanted, I could come over here to Canvas and Drawing Guide and do Edit Drawing Guide for some help to make sure to help guide me. So I'm gonna type in 108. I just eyeballed that, and oh, my dog just ran by. So now I can use this guideline and the existing text to draw my new lettering by hand. So I'll do a kind of taller one. That's a little too wide. Maybe I want it to say autumn. No, that's too long. Fall stickers. So now I can take this and just yeet it out of there. And ooh, something scared me. Move these two closer together. Turn up the transparency here, and if you want to choose, you can move multiple layers, parts of the same layer. So I'm going to swipe with one finger left on the two layers that I want to move, this fall layer and the original text layer, and then I'm going to do the lasso tool, and then I can move everything in both of those together without having to merge them. So then I'm going to use my guide and these little center dots to roughly center this text here. And then now I'm going to merge this all together because this is all the text that I'm going to use, and I'm going to do that same trick. 2 fingers swipe to the right to adjust the transparency to change the color on all this text. So now I'm actually, to start, I'm going to use the airbrush tools so I can quickly fill it in solidly, because I want this to be a little more autumn colors. So I think like red and orange, you know, that kind of tone. So now that I've applied my base layer, I'm going to come back into, where was that? Inking, dry ink, for a little bit of that texture. And I don't know exactly how I want to do this. I think, let's try 2 different ways. That's okay. Let's see. How did I have it before? So it was like every other one or so. Okay, so let's now try every other letter or so. So I wanted to have a transition on each one. If that makes sense. Each letter. So there's 2 colors on each letter. Let's see how this looks. So we'll do maybe green instead of... Oh yeah, that's it. Because blue was a little too strong there. That's great. Red, orange, green. Yellow. Red. Orange. I love doing this. Yeah, I think this is cute. And do I? I don't. I'm gonna color it all again. Let's try to do it a little bigger maybe, instead of every other letter. Just doing a little bit of testing here, not sure exactly how I want to color this. I could fuss around with that later. For now, let's let's just do all red for this. Maybe all orange. Or maybe alternating. Orange and yellow. And we do a little lighter with the pen so it's in some random spots. That's kind of nice. See, a little lighter instead of all on the diagonal. This is just like some little gradient spots. That's pretty fun. I think I like that. Yeah, there we go. So just some little spots. And we'll do that with yellow too. Little yellow spots. That's very autumnal. Lovely. Excellent. Okay, so that's all done there. We can turn off the drawing. Actually, I'll leave the drawing guide on because what I want to do next is move these around a little bit. Actually, because I think these are done and I'm not going to change them anymore, I'm going to merge my line work and my color base layer. I'll just say art for this. And now I want to move them apart a little bit so we've got a little more room for, because they're stickers. So I'm using my lasso tool and circling it around, and I'm gonna just pull it up like that. I'm gonna real quick go and check what I did with the stickers. Yeah, it looks like they were kind of pulled apart like that. And I'm going to take this and make it just a hair smaller. Check on the quality. Yeah, it still looks good. Same with this. Actually just going to scoot this one over a little bit. Don't want to get too close to the edge, because then it will print incorrectly. I'm going to move this one out a little bit. Just gotta give a little bit of space for the stickers to breathe. Move this one pretty far down. Or a lot of space to breathe, right? Excellent. There, I think that's really nice. What I would probably do, I think what I did, let's go check how I did the line work, because for the stickers, because let's do some sleuthing. I must have drawn them by hand, but that seems crazy. Oh, I think I borrowed Zach's Photoshop to draw the outlines for the stickers so that the printer knew where to print them. That's right, I remember. So I won't be showing that here, but I am going to cross my fingers and hope that these are far enough apart. But the very final thing I like to do is add some little, oh, too big. some little sparkles, which people can cut out on their sticker sheet themselves if they want to. I believe I did this in the other one. Yeah, it looks like I did. Very nice. They're kind of cheesy, but also very fun. Just a little confetti, you know. Too fat down there. Ooh, it's hot in here. Got the heater on. It's getting cold. It's November. Alright, this might be a little too much, but I can always come back in and adjust it. So now we have the finished sticker sheet. Normally I would draw the sparkles on a different layer, but I wasn't paying attention. So there you have it. Very straightforward the way that I draw on Procreate. Just wanted to clean that up. My most straightforward technique. Some of the brushes that I use, how I organize this, and then I'd to finish it up, I'd just export this as a PNG or probably a PDF and upload it on my computer to Google Drive and then send it to a company to be printed as stickers after I outline it, after I remember how I outlined it. I don't often do sticker sheets. But yeah, that's my drawing technique. I'm gonna have more explanation in the post, of course, and so I hope you guys enjoyed this long form walkthrough of my process instead of like a sped up version, so that you can get in and skip around as much as you want and everything. So yeah, enjoy the article. I hope you liked it. Leave comments. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you like this format, and know that I appreciate you so much. Have fun drawing, and have a great day. Bye!